its flood warning system.
It will immediately save lives in the next major weather event.
How does volcanic smoke and ash impact our planet's climate?
Cooled the global climate by about 0.5 degree Celsius or about 1 degree Fahrenheit.
And the role weather plays in the rise of airplane turbulence incidents.
So that's the link from temperatures to the jet stream, to the winds, to the turbulence.
And a very good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm WJLA Senior Meteorologist Brian Vandegraff. Well, it'll be another day of hazy, smoky skies for millions of Americans from coast to coast, but there is some good news. Let's start in the Great Lakes and Northeast, where smoke from Canadian wildfires is still clogging skies. The worst air stretches from northern Minnesota to the western portion of New England and Delaware. Here you can see Chicago, where the sun will once again struggle to shine through the smoke. But here's the good news that I mentioned. The skies are expected to start clearing out today in some of the biggest cities like New York, Detroit, Philadelphia, and Cleveland. They all have moderate air quality today, and by tomorrow, even more cities will join them. But the worst air quality in the country today is, believe it or not, in Southern California. It's an area near Los Angeles, not far from the Gifford Fire. That wildfire is burning in San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara counties and is now California's largest wildfire of the year. Fresno meteorologist Chris Kuiper has more.
Here in orange is the Gifford Fire, now the largest fire in the state this year. And again, the eastern side is bumped up against this gray blob here. That's the burn scar from the Madre Fire from just last month. Madre Fire didn't burn everything in here, but it certainly burned most of it. So there's not a whole lot left to burn in this region. So that's what the fire captain was talking about, how the Gifford Fire bumping up against the Madre Fire is good news. It's really splitting into two flanks here. We tell from the heat signature. One here in San Luis Obispo County seems a little more active tonight than in this afternoon than the one in Santa Barbara County. But nevertheless, it's straddling the Santa Barbara-San Luis Obispo County line here through the course of the day today. And notice that smoke in the afternoon pushing into Kern County today. I think in the next couple of days, we may start to have to deal with that here in our neck of the woods.
And another fire known as the Rosa Fire has burned 1,600 acres in Riverside County. Unfortunately, a prolonged heat wave is arriving this week, making conditions even tougher for firefighters. And a fast-moving brush fire has scorched at least 300 acres near San Antonio, Texas. The fire started Tuesday afternoon with officials telling residents to evacuate immediately. The first started after a controlled burn was blown out of control by heavy winds. There have also been no reports of major injury, although one firefighter was treated for heat exhaustion. The fire is currently at about 75% contained. And tracking the tropics this morning, the Atlantic hurricane season underway, and the Atlantic is now heating up a bit with one tropical storm and two areas that could form into named storms over the next week. Florida meteorologist Jennifer Collins has the latest.
Tropical storm Dexter moving out to sea into cooler waters of the northern Atlantic, where it is expected to become a post-tropical system as soon as tomorrow morning. The rest of the Atlantic monitoring two areas for potential development. One is off the southeast coast of the United States, has a 40% chance here over the next few days. An area of low pressure is forecast to form, so nothing has actually developed just yet, but we have a stationary boundary over the region. So as that area of low pressure develops, could show signs of tropical characteristics. So just something to monitor. Really not much impacts here locally. We're keeping our, classic rainy season pattern in place. Meanwhile, a tropical wave moving into the central Atlantic has a 50% chance of development over the next 7 days. Likely movement will keep it out over open waters of the Atlantic, but just something to monitor for now. The next name of the season is Aaron.
So far this hurricane season, the Atlantic has been fairly quiet. So what's happening now that's causing things to start to pick up? Well, meteorologist Noah Huck breaks it down.
Some may feel like the hurricane season here in the Atlantic has been pretty lackluster up until now, but things are actually just getting started. The months of August until October are typically the peak months in terms of hurricane season. You'll notice with this graphic that sharp increase as we head throughout this month. And September 10th is actually going to be the peak of our hurricane season. But what makes it feel like, especially within the last couple of days, that the Atlantic has really woken up? Well, one thing that we look at is going to be Saharan dust that typically is going to act as a blanket over top of the ocean to reflect sunlight away from the water, preventing and sometimes inhibiting tropical development. But one of the areas of concern that we're watching right now could be moving over into this portion just to the north of San Juan. We're not seeing a whole lot of Saharan dust, so that means it could be able to tap into some extra fuel. And especially the other area we're looking at just into the east coast, it also seems to not see a whole lot of dust right now, allowing for some potential development. Another thing that we also happen to look at are sea temperatures. We'll notice off into the Gulf and into the Atlantic, they're going to be well above the threshold of just about 80 degrees is what we look for in terms of tropical development. But off in the Gulf, seeing 86 just to the south of New Orleans, just the west of Miami, right at 88 degrees, and even off into the Atlantic, right about 86 near Orlando. So things are starting to heat up, especially over in the Atlantic.
And weeks before the July 4th floods in Texas, another flood killed about 13 people in San Antonio. Now the county has approved a plan that could be a game changer when it comes to preventing deadly flooding like that. As Destiny Fuller explains, it's a modern early warning system that's the start of a multi-step process.
Officials are calling the next-gen flood warning system a multi-pronged approach to improving flood readiness countywide.
The River Authority laid out its vision for this next generation warning system at all the low water crossings across the city and the county. And we agreed 100% that this is the direction we need to go. It will immediately save lives in the next major weather event.
Though the Bexar County Regional Watershed Management Partnership, or BRWM, has invested more than $2 billion on flood mitigation, the new system is geared towards prevention and early notification, using real-time data from flood gauges to detect water levels at an estimated cost of $21 million.
My direction from the court is the River Authority will have the $21 million it needs, whether it comes from us, the city, the state, or whoever. They're going to have the money to make sure Bexar County residents and citizens are protected.
Judge Peter Sakai saying we can never forget the deadly June 12 floods, adding this system is a step in the right direction, saying there's still a long way to go.
This is a multi-dimensional process. This is not just a fix and everything will be fine. No, we have a lot of work to do.
Several counties in western Oregon are in drought emergency due to warm temperatures and lack of precipitation. And those conditions appear to be spreading across the region. Meteorologist John Mayer takes a look at what's going on now and compares it with past summers.
Well, continuing to track the spread of that severe drought here across western Oregon, we can see that's the orange color stretching all throughout the Willamette Valley, now working its way down further south into Douglas County. This has really been the picture for us here across western Oregon for the past 3 weeks or so at this point. And well, it's certainly not unfamiliar territory, but it is a little bit worse than where we were 1 year ago. Take it back to 2024. We were only looking at that moderate drought. That tan color really was just east of the I-5 corridor. But you go back another year, you start to see the return of some of those elevated, the severe drought that was making its way through the Willamette Valley, very reminiscent of where we are right now. Go back one more year and you actually had that severe drought really centered further south. But it's really 2021. That was the last time we saw some truly troubling drought conditions across the entire region. Let me take you back to that, because that was one time where we saw it not just in the Willamette Valley, not just down in Douglas County, but across the board. And it wasn't just the severe drought. We had that red, the extreme drought, that next tier up. So we certainly have been worse for the wear out there. This was also a year we were looking at exceptional drought all throughout central Oregon, but still we're continuing to track that drought expanding across much of the region. And without any major rain systems moving through anytime soon, there's a good chance we continue to see that severe drought creeping further and further south when that next update comes down on Thursday morning.
Australia's iconic Great Barrier Reef suffered its biggest decline in recorded history last year. A marine heat wave bleached vast swaths of coral. According to a new study, surging water temperatures combined with an El Nino weather pattern caused coral to expel algae and lose their color. Researchers say the reef lost up to a third of its hard coral. It's the largest loss in a single year since monitoring began nearly 40 years ago. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, earlier this week, massive plumes of volcanic ash billowed into the sky after a volcano erupted in far eastern Russia. We'll look at how it could impact weather around the world. And we'll look at what's causing an increase in clear air turbulence after this.
I'm meteorologist Christian Bridges. Here's a look at your forecast for the Northeast. Overall, a really nice Wednesday in store along the coastline of New England. Temperatures in the 70s as you head across the interior of the region. Temperatures warming up into the 80s, with 80s expected across much of New York State. Now, we'll continue to deal with wildfire smoke across much of the region through the day Wednesday. Be aware there will likely be some air quality impacts. Otherwise, though, we will see partly sunny skies with only the slight chance of a shower or storm across New York and into Vermont.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Still looking at mostly cloudy skies as we head through your Wednesday afternoon and into Thursday. We'll start to see a little bit more of sunshine, but a couple of light showers will be possible through your Wednesday. Not much rain, but the clouds and a little bit of the light shower activity could keep our temperatures down. High pressure in place will likely keep us mostly rain-free through the weekend, and we'll see our temperatures cooler but slightly warming up as we head into the weekend.
Hi, meteorologist Jennifer Collins with a look at your southeast forecast. A hot and humid one for most of Florida, with temperatures climbing into the low and mid-90s Wednesday afternoon. We'll be in the mid-90s even across parts of the Mississippi River Valley, and in the low to mid-70s for the higher elevations of the Carolinas, and in the mid-80s for the Carolina coastline. Heading through the day, scattered showers and thunderstorms will impact many coastal communities along the Gulf Coast and in the Carolinas heading through Thursday.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A drone's eye view of the Sardine Lakes in Northern California, an area where camping, boating, fishing, and swimming are available at local waterways. Moving east and to upper Michigan, a hazy, smoky sunrise here. Now moving south, where Orange Beach, Alabama, living up to its name Tuesday morning with orange hues to greet the day.
For more content like this, subscribe to the National Weather Desk's YouTube channel.
And earlier this week, massive plumes of volcanic ash billowed into the sky after a volcano erupted in far eastern Russia. How does all that smoke and ash impact our planet's climate? Well, meteorologist Emily Gracie spoke with an expert to find out.
So the most dangerous part is the blast right when it happens and the falling pieces of rock. Eruptions also have sulfur dioxide gas, SO2, which can go into the atmosphere and form sulfuric acid droplets, and that pollution can be also harmful. That's the most common kind of pollution we see in the atmosphere that produces haze, but it comes out pretty quickly near the eruption. It depends on the wind direction. It depends whether it's raining to wash it out. But if the eruption is strong enough, it will pump this gas up into the stratosphere, which is the layer above where we live, where there's no rain to wash it out. And then it can be blown around the world and last for a couple years. And if there's enough SO2 producing a thin layer of sulfuric acid clouds, that can reflect sunlight and cause cooling.
So is there a way to tell this early on in the process if this is that kind of explosion?
Yes, we have satellites that can measure the SO2 gas. So we can measure that within a day after the eruption. And I've seen no reports of a lot of SO2 from this eruption.
Have there historically been volcanoes that have had a major impact on our climate over a longer period of time?
Oh, absolutely. The last big eruption was Mount Pinatubo in 1991 in the Philippines. And that put up so much sulfur, 20 million tons, that it cooled the global climate by about 0.5 degree Celsius or about 1 degree Fahrenheit for a couple years. And so that next year was quite a bit cooler. In fact, in Hudson Bay, the sea ice that forms in the winter lasted an extra month that summer. And the polar bears that live there were able to thrive. They could go hunting more. They could have more bear cubs, and they call those the Pinatubo bears because there was many more of them born and survived in 1992 than other years.
Turbulence is one of the most common airline accident types today, according to the National Transportation Safety Board. Michael Yoshida joins us with more on the rise of trouble in the skies and what role weather plays.
25 people taken to hospitals after a Delta flight experienced severe turbulence, causing service carts and unbelted passengers to hit the ceiling and forcing an emergency landing. Atmospheric science professor Paul Williams says Earth's warming temperatures are making flying conditions worse. That's especially true along busy flight paths, which are near powerful winds in the upper atmosphere called jet streams. Williams says the clashing of increasingly warmer and cooler air is causing more frequent and more severe clear air turbulence, which can't be seen on radar and isn't connected to other visual cues like storms or clouds, meaning it can seemingly hit out of nowhere. According to the National Transportation Safety Board, between 2009 and 2018, flight crews had no warning in about 28% of turbulence-related accidents. Williams, who has studied the topic for more than a decade, says the numbers will keep going up. Still, he and others say flying won't be any less safe, and new technologies could help, from better forecasting models to even artificial intelligence.
5 years ago this week, a destructive and extremely powerful derecho blew through the Midwest. It caused widespread damage across multiple states, especially Iowa. All this week, our station in Cedar Rapids is looking back at that storm and how people are recovering from it. This morning, Kaylee Whitlock introduces us to a man who watched the roof of his business blow away.
I knew about a storm coming in, but didn't realize how, extensive it would be.
On August 10th, 2020, Brendan McCormick stopped by his shop in Marion to grab some supplies for his painting business. A quick trip would soon become a life-saving decision as he hid in the bathroom. When the worst was over, McCormick says he started planning how to keep his business going since nearly all of the supplies were destroyed or lost. McCormick Painting Services now operates out of Fairfax in its fourth facility since the derecho. Right now, one of its older signs is hanging there, serving as a symbol of overcoming the devastation. Now, McCormick says he continues to prioritize safety, and he's keeping a close eye on the weather.
If we see a big weather event incoming, I just definitely alert the crew, make sure to prioritize their safety, don't go anywhere. Soon after the derecho, we started a scholarship at Kirkwood just to give back to the trades programs, try to bring more people into this role because I don't think enough people are entering this right now. So being able to grow the business since the derecho to bring more funds into scholarships and similar community events to keep bringing people in and create awareness. We just want to keep growing and giving back.
A major growing threat is spreading across orchards in Central California, damaging crops, destroying irrigation systems, and forcing farmers to spend money trying to protect their harvest. The cause? Rodents. Myra Franco has more from Fresno.
Almond growers across the Central Valley are getting hit hard, and this time around not because of droughts, but because of rodents.
This is a significant issue in the agriculture community right now.
Farmers across the Central Valley are in the middle of a not new but growing problem that they say is only getting worse. A rodent crisis from rats to squirrels and even gophers.
It's not affecting just the crop itself, but they're doing permanent damage to trees. They're going after the irrigation system. Numerous reports of them going after wiring on tractors and equipment and stuff to a much larger degree than we've ever seen.
Ryan Jacobson is the CEO of Fresno County Farm Bureau. He says he's never seen the problem get this bad and widespread, affecting orchards all around the valley and not just in specific areas here and there. the constant repair comes with a hefty price tag for farmers. It's not just the cost for materials, it's the labor too that comes with fixing the damage over and over again. Jacobson says just within this small segment of the ag industry, the losses are already stacking up.
We've seen an economic report come out that says so far the damage is somewhere between $110 and $300 million.
To combat the problem, farmers have been relying on traps and pest control chemicals.
That we've learned through this situation, there's not one easy answer on this. There has to be really explored a multitude of issues depending on the circumstances to really combat the issue.
And time now for a short break, but first we take to the skies over Maryland's Chesapeake Bay Bridge.
Good Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. A few isolated showers and storms popping up across the plains for the day today, but it's continuing to get a little warmer over the next few days. Mid to upper 80s for most of us, if not the lower 90s. Heading into the day tomorrow, we crank up the temperatures a little bit more. Wichita, 99 for the high for tomorrow. And as we continue on into your Friday, a little cooler to the north because more rain, otherwise still warm.
Well, a good Wednesday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Chris Suchet. Look at our forecast today across the region, starting off with really a pretty nice early August morning. The afternoon, typically hot. 90s pretty widespread. You do get some 80s along the Gulf Coast, where there's also a chance for a shower thunderstorm with the sea breeze. But overall, really a pretty quiet weather day, and that will extend into Thursday. A lot of sunshine, a few fair weather clouds. Best rain chance Thursday would be closer to the Gulf Coast with the sea breeze.
Well, hi there, everybody, and a good Wednesday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Out west, it's pluviophiles unite in the PNW. The rain is coming back, and if you love rain, too, you'll be happy to hear it on the rooftops around the Seattle area. We need it. We had a lot of wildfire smoke the day before, so this will wash things clean. Back to 109, though, in Vegas, and a triple-digit day out of Salt Lake City. Dry in the southwest, but there comes that front into the PNW. And that's the scene from here.
Want to know how you can see a tornado using supplies you probably have at home? Meteorologist Corbin Vogue shows us how on Instagram.
Howdy, y'all. Corbin Vogus here, Chief Meteorologist at KVII. Doing a fun little experiment since, school's about to come back into session. If you're looking for something to show the kids that's STEM or science related, fun today is we're actually making a tornado in a cup. And so what we've done is we went and got some hot water. We've got some dry ice, which is currently sitting inside of the cup and water. And we've cut a hole in the top of this plastic trash can, and we've got a couple of slits in here, and we've super glued or hot glued some cardboard in here. But what we're doing is we're basically just going to create our own or simulate our own tornado. So what the hairdryer is doing is it's acting like your updraft. And you've got your inflow and your rear flank downdraft, and you've got circulation there, and you end up getting a tornado.
And thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm meteorologist Brian Vandegraff. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.